Did you guys miss me? What's up, guys? This is Duno here, and yeah, I'm back. So I know it's been a long time since I uploaded a video, 7 to 8 months to be exact. Uh, and yeah, so the reason I was off because I just had a lot of studies to do. I was really preoccupied with academics because I was preparing for some entrance exams to get into a good college to do my masters from. So that's the reason that I had to take some time off YouTube to just focus on a single thing and make it as efficient as possible. But everything went well. I'm hoping to get into college sometime this year, in a few months to be exact. And everything is set now. Everything is going in the right direction, and I'm back. I will be uploading content definitely more regularly. There will be podcasts, there will be more what ifs, there will be continuation of other what ifs, there will be a season 2 of the Dragon Clan. I will prepare the trailer, I will release it soon, and I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to all you guys for staying tuned. Thank you so much for staying subscribed. I was so afraid that when I logged back in I will have less than 1000 subscribers, so but you guys stayed subscribed, you guys stayed tuned. I want to give a special shout out to Pickle Dill for helping me return and providing some good advice. Thanks to Ultraman for providing me with a great soundtrack for my videos. And yeah, and I would also like to apologize to UBX because I disappeared for YouTube after doing a podcast with him. That was pretty weird. I didn't mean for this to happen, but like the timing just didn't work out. So I did a podcast with him, and after that, I had intent to upload a video, but then uh, just something came up, and I didn't upload a video for a week. A week turned into a month, and so on. It went, and then before I knew it, it was like 5 months, and my last video was a podcast with UBX. So yeah, that was pretty weird. So I'm sorry, UBX. And yeah, so speaking on this video, this will comprise from part 11 of the Surge sponsoring Ash story all the way to the second last episode of this season. So this will be a really long video. So stay tuned for this. And the next video will be the season finale of this particular series. And after that, I will release a full movie edition so you guys can watch it at your convenience. And as for the upcoming videos, like I said, the trailer for the season 2 of Dragon Clan will drop soon. I will continue What If Ash and Alan were twins, and I'm getting a new laptop by the end of this month, so production value will go up. Thank you so much for staying tuned. I hope you enjoy this video, and yeah, man, I'm just really happy to be back. After finishing up with the gym battle against Sabrina, Ash and Serena make their way to Vermilion City. They arrive just the day before the grand festival is about to begin. They decide upon the fact that it would be better to rest up at the gym itself rather than the facility provided by the Grand Festival Authority. This is after Ash offered Serena to stay at the Vermilion City gym. He said that Viscas will be happy to meet her. Ash and Serena arrive at the gym, where Ash is greeted by Viscas with a big hug. She says she's proud of Ash and watched his recent battle against Sabrina. It's amazing how far him and Raichu have come. She then looks over his shoulder and notices Serena and asks if she is his girlfriend. Both of them blush and Ash tells her to stop messing around. He then explains how Serena won all the required ribbons and is here for the grand festival. Viscas is extremely impressed and speculates if it was her strategy of the counter shield that Ash used against Sabrina, which she confirms. The gym leader is impressed even more by the creativity displayed. She goes on to say that back when she herself began the journey as a trainer, she used to think the contest battles were for the soft folk, who just wanted to avoid the rigor of traditional battles and training and resorted to flashy tricks, but the landscape has shifted so much. Viscas tells Ash that he should train even harder in the coming months because he has a huge target on his back now. By now, every trainer registered for the Pokemon League knows he's sponsored by Surge, and his feats in the gym battles have raised the competition level, so he better be prepared to face the toughest opponents in the league. She also tells him about her battle against Silver and how his Charmeleon evolved. Ash tells her that he's familiar with his Charizard and about the recent battle that they had. Ash asks Whiskers if they could have a battle after the festival is over. He would like to test his Raichu's full power, and Whiskers will be able to point out any shortcomings in his technique if need be. She says that would be a good idea. The next day, Ash and Whiskers were in the stands to support Serena in the Grand Festival. The contest was very competitive, but thanks to Serena's training and finesse in the style, she was able to breeze through the prelims and win all the way to the finals. Here, she faced off against a surprise entrant, Erika, the gym leader of the Celadon city. She used her Vileplume and Bellossom. Serena, having watched Ash's battle with her, had some insights. She used her Eevee and Pikachu. The battle was back and forth, but in the end Serena used a combination move of Eevee's Swift combined with Pikachu's Thunderbolt, making the stars coated in electricity, bright, beautiful but lethal at the same time. This attack was able to cut through the twin petal blizzard by Vileplume and Bellossom, and although this didn't knock them out, the time was exhausted. The scores were extremely close, but Serena managed to edge out by a slight margin, winning the Kanto Grand Festival to a thunderous ovation from everyone. Ash saw her receive the trophy and was motivated more than ever to win the Pokemon League after this. He wanted to have a moment like this with his own Pokemon. This was really inspiring for him. The next day, Whiskers treated Ash, Serena and the other interns of the gym to an amazing lunch to celebrate Serena's victory. After the celebrations were over, Whiskers asks Ash if he's ready to battle now, to which Ash replies by saying there is nothing better to digest a good meal than a good battle. They all assemble at the gym as Ash and Raichu step forward. Whiskers takes out a Pokeball with a thunder mark on it and sends out her own Raichu of the Alolan variant. Ash immediately protests, saying that that's not fair, and Raichu looks to reciprocate the same feelings. Ash tells Whiskers that Raichu can't fight his own mother in an all-out battle, and Raichu nods and tries to leave the battlefield. However, the Alolan Raichu floats over and smacks him in the head with her tail. Whiskers tells Ash to quit being a baby, and the best way to test Raichu's weakness is to put him against a Pokemon who knows the electric mouse better than anybody. Ash sighs before realizing that she's right. He tells Raichu to just think of this as a normal battle against just another opponent. But this was easier said than done for Raichu. Raichu still hesitates but thinks it's better if he gets spanked in the battle rather than outside of it. So he buckles up and prepares to fight. The battle begins and Whiskers orders an electric terrain as the battlefield surges up with electricity. This allows the Alolan Raichu, whom we will be referring as Moma for short, and just it sounds sweet, let's be honest. This allows Moma to activate her Surge Surfer ability as she zooms across the entire battlefield with the heightened speed and appears right behind Raichu. Whiskers orders a Thunderbolt and Ash as Raichu activate the Counter Shield technique just in time to defend the attack. The Counter Shield is supercharged due to the electric terrain, but this is not all good news for Ash. Although it's powerful because of the terrain, it's difficult to control at the same time and hits Raichu a couple of times. So Ash tells him to abandon this technique as long as the terrain is active. Moma uses her hit and run attacks against Raichu, thus neutralizing his power advantage. Ash realizes he needs to take a hit to return an even bigger one, so he tells Raichu to block the attacks and try to predict where Moma will attack again. After a few failed attempts, Raichu is able to pinpoint the exact location and hit a powerful Thunderbolt which stuns Moma. Whiskers realizes that the electric terrain will do more harm than good for her now, as Raichu has figured out her hit and run strategy. So she decides to switch it up and order a psychic terrain instead. As the battlefield surges with psychic energy, Ash prepares for the next attack. Although Moma won't have a speed boost, she has a move that will be boosted on the psychic terrain. This is of course expanding force, and she fires it off. It zooms towards Raichu in a frightening speed, but Ash had predicted this, as he orders Raichu to use Counter Shield, which now can be easily controlled because of the electric terrain being removed. Using this shield technique, Raichu is able to blast through the attack and connect with a powerful Mega Punch at a close range which knocks Mama out. He immediately checks on her and Mama lets him know that she is okay and is delighted at his strength. Whiskers compliments Ash and tells him he has truly surpassed her in both strength and skill, and his Raichu seems to be entering the same zone as some of Surge's Pokemon. The next day, Ash and Serena depart for Cerulean City, where Ash will finally challenge Misty. That is, if she is available to take that challenge. Whiskers advises Ash not to use Raichu in his battle against Misty, as this would make the battle predictable, and she must have lots of counters against an electric type. She goes on to say that one should treat gym battles as an asset more than a challenge, and not using the type advantage against a formidable trainer like Misty will help Ash grow even further. Ash tells her he will keep it in mind before departing. Silver arrives at his mother Grace's house. She asks him how his gym battle against Janine went. Silver nonchalantly replies by saying it was easier than he thought, before laying down and resting his head on his mother's lap, saying that he has come really far in his journey. When he becomes the champion, they will leave Kanto and go to the Sevai Islands. His mother tells him that whatever he does, she will always be by his side. We switch over to Indigo Plateau, where Janine arrives. As she began to walk towards the entrance gate, she glanced over to an unusually large boulder nearby. She tells her father hiding behind it to come out already, which the elite ninja obliges, appearing in a puff of smoke. He commends her for her awareness and asks her for what did she visit him here and what was so important that she couldn't tell him over the phone. She said nothing, but then in a shaky voice, she told him that she wants to resign from her position as the gym leader. Koga notices her breaking voice and instantly kneels down, dropping his character, and holds her, asking what's wrong, to which his beloved daughter starts weeping and hugs him, telling her father she let him down. She's weak. Koga asks her to tell everything that has happened. After hearing about her battles against Silver and Ash, he tells her that he is proud. At this young age, she learnt a lesson that many great trainers take years to learn, and that is, there is someone out there who will always be stronger than you, and that's why you should never put a ceiling on yourself. He asks her if she is ready to shatter through the invisible ceiling of the gym that she has put on herself. Janine, still sobbing, asks him what he means, to which the ninja replies by saying there's still 3 months left for the Pokemon League to begin. He wants her to challenge the Pokemon League. He believes that she is finally ready. Janine is confused and asks him, even after knowing how badly she lost, how can Koga still have so much faith in her? To which he replies by saying, it is the failures that make you stronger. Only if you have the courage to push through. Whenever you fail, you have 2 choices. First is to fall back, lament and feel sorry for yourself. Second is to fall forward, dust yourself off and move ahead. He is absolutely confident that Janine will make the second choice. Janine closed her eyes before getting up and wiping the tears away. She tells Koga that the next time she meets him, it will be right here, where she will challenge him on her path to becoming the champion. We switch over. Ash and Serena arrive at Cerulean City. All through the ride here, Ash kept berating Misty about how irresponsible she is as a gym leader, and she has no respect for the prestigious position. He will teach her a lesson for sure. Serena asked Ash why is this battle so personal for Ash. Is it because he served as a gym leader himself and it bothers him that Misty does not take the position seriously as he does? Ash tells her it's more than that. After battling so many trainers throughout his journey, he realizes that just how tough it can be for certain trainers who don't have the right upbringing or sponsors to back them. They have to do things the hard way, and it pisses him off that people take these things for granted. The next morning, Ash arrives just as the gym doors are about to be opened for the first battle of the day. As he and Serena are about to enter, they notice a boy arrive in his bicycle. He got off his bicycle and introduced himself as Harrison, a trainer from the Hoenn region. He asks Ash if he is here to challenge the gym, which Ash replies by saying he is, and if Harrison is here to do the same. Harrison nods but says it's okay. Ash arrived here first and he himself rode all the way from Lavender Town, so he should probably rest up. He asks Ash if he's the trainer sponsored by Lt.Surge, and Ash then realizes what Whiskers was referring to. More and more participants are starting to learn about him. Ash asks Harrison if he wants to watch his battle, but Harrison politely declines, saying it will be unfair and unethical for him to do so. Instead, he promises Ash that he will battle him in the Pokemon League before leaving for the Pokemon Center and shaking hands. Ash enters the gym and notices Misty at the other end of the swimming pool battlefield. Misty starts off by introducing herself and the rules, but Ash cuts her off mid-sentence, telling her that this isn't the first time he is here to challenge the gym. He was here months before, and Misty was nowhere to be found. He saw the reviews on the Cerulean City gym corner in the Pokemon Center. Half the time she is absent and the gym is closed. Why not appoint an interim gym leader and take some responsibility? Misty is caught off guard by the hostility and tells him there is a reason why the Kanto and Johto Pokemon League made more than 8 gyms by adding new ones, so the gym leaders can get a relief on the workload. They are people too, with aspirations and personal goals. Ash should know because Surge himself left his gym to become an Elite Four member. For a moment, Ash gets angry, but calms himself down, asking that if she is jealous because Surge made the cut and she didn't. Misty snaps at him, saying that does it. It's time to battle now. The proctor says this will be a 3-on-3 battle where only the challenger must substitute his Pokemon. Ash tells him there is no need for that clause. He wants a set battle where no one will change their Pokemon until it's knocked out. He promises not to use a single Pokemon with a type advantage against Misty. The water flower of the Cerulean gym snaps back, telling the challenger she will serve him a much needed humble pie and send him crying back to Surge. She sends out her first Pokemon, Swampert. Ash sends out Machoke. The battle begins as Swampert charges in with a liquidation attack. Ash orders a dynamic punch to counter, but Swampert proves to be the faster Pokemon, connecting first, which minimizes the power of the dynamic punch. Ash orders a submission attack, but Swampert jumps into the pool. Ash says he had a feeling she would do that, and orders Machoke to use Ice Punch on the platform. This causes a large portion of the battlefield to freeze. Ash plans on doing the same thing over and over again until the entire battlefield is frozen. Misty is forced to abandon her hit and run strategy because of this, and orders Swampert to attack head on again with an Ice Punch this time. Machoke counters with an Ice Punch of his own. They both trade punches back and forth, but Swampert seems to have the power advantage. Machoke falls back heavily damaged, but Swampert looks in a way better condition. Machoke looks like it's ready to quit, but he hears Ash's voice telling him he's doing great out there and they can still win this. Misty orders another liquidation and Swampert covers itself in a stream of water and smashes into Machoke. However, in a last-ditch effort, Machoke roars in defiance and puts both his hands forward to block the attack. He keeps getting pushed back and back. As he glances back at Ash, who looks worried, Machoke smiles at him before starting to pour all his remaining energy into stopping the attack. Suddenly, Machoke starts glowing, and Swampert feels 3 hands blocking him instead of 2. And out of nowhere, a 4th hand punches him away. Machoke has evolved into Machamp. The Mudfish Pokemon stares at its now evolved adversary and charges with an Ice Punch once again. Ash orders Machamp to use Ice Punch as well, and this time it's Swampert who gets stung by the chilling fist of Machamp and staggers backwards. Misty orders an Earthquake and Ash orders a Dynamic Punch. Both attacks land, and although Swampert is knocked out, the evolution did not recover the damage Machamp had taken and he goes down with it. Ash thanks Machamp for an incredible contribution and says they are finally on the same page. Misty compliments the fighting type on its ability but says Ash he won't get any more lucky breaks. Ash replies by saying luck happens when preparation meets opportunity, and they have been prepared for this moment for a long time. Ash tells her he will put on an exclamation statement on the battle by beating her at her own game. He sends out his Slowbro. Misty smirks and says she will give him respect where it's due. The Slowbro looks to be very well trained, so she will match Ash in this battle. She sends out her Starmie. The 2 water psychic type attacks start the battle by trading special attacks one after the another. Starmie has the power advantage, but Slowbro is the more efficient Pokemon. A psychic attack collision shatters the ice from the previous battle, Slowbro uses its psychic to control the broken ice shards and send them at Starmie, causing a lot of damage. Misty says that was quite resourceful, and Ash smirks, saying she has seen nothing yet. The battle rages on as both Pokemon take damage back and forth before Starmie gets the slight edge with a hydro pump, which catches Slowbro off guard. She tries to capitalize by ordering another hydro pump, but Ash orders Slowbro to use Psychic to control the attack, along with the rest of the water pool nearby, to create the ultimate water counter shield. Due to Slowbro being the most efficient energy controller in Ash's team, his counter shield is the most potent. Starmie gets the major blunt of the whiplashes from Slowbro's attacks and seems to be on its last legs, but it's Misty's turn now to be the creative one. She orders the starfish to use rapid spin to bounce off the whiplashes, and Starmie does so, reaching at the height above Slowbro. Misty grins, saying that the weakness of every storm is always its eye, as she will show Ash a move that Surge must have taught him. Ash, realizing what she's planning, orders Slowbro to cancel the counter shield, but it's too late. Starmie fires off a thunderbolt straight into the vortex, which supercharges in the water. The gym lights up in a blinding flash of light, and Slowbro is down for the count. Ash checks on Slowbro, who is badly damaged. He looks at Misty and tells her that she wins. He wants to forfeit. Misty is shocked and says he still has another Pokemon to send out. Ash tells her it's more important for him to ensure Slowbro's safety rather than this gym battle. He will challenge her another time, but Misty stops him and tells her interns to check on Slowbro. The interns carry the fainted water type to a room to check on it. Misty tells Ash not to worry, as her interns are well versed with water types and can heal Slowbro even better than the Pokemon Center. Ash asks Misty how they are so well trained even as interns, to which the gym leader replies by saying that's because she only hired the young trainers as interns who were aspiring to work as rangers or nurses. She did not hire any battlers and instead gave chances to other professions. All of them are working on the Lapras conservation projects. She tells Ash that's the reason she could not appoint any one of them as the interim gym leader. Ash nods and says he's sorry for lashing out. Misty tells him it's okay, and she actually admired his passion as a gym leader, but they still have a battle to finish. Ash nods and sends out his final Pokemon, Dragonair. Misty smirks, thinks this is going to be fun. Ash orders Dragonair to start off with a Dragon Breath, which Starmie counters with a Hydro Pump. Starmie tries to catch Dragonair with a Psychic attack, but at the last second a Thunder Wave leaves the starfish paralyzed. Another Dragon Breath takes out the tired starfish, leaving Misty with a last Pokemon as well. She sends out her Gyarados, and the Sea Serpent roars at Dragonair, who returns the call with an aggressive shriek. Dragonair has finally found the perfect adversary for its chaotic battling style, as the two serpents start off with Dragon Dance to boost their attack and speed stats. What follows is a destructive battle between the two similar movesets. They trade Aqua Tails and Dragon Breath over and over again, and the impact causes cracks to appear in the gym walls. Both of them are exhausted after such a chaotic battle, and Ash and Misty look at each other and smile, knowing what is left. They both shout Hyper Beam at the same time, and the powerful attacks collide, resulting in a massive explosion. When the dust settles, Dragonair is barely able to keep its stance, but Gyarados is knocked out cold, meaning Ash is declared the winner after an epic gym battle for the ages. The both trainers shake hands and compliment each other's strength. Misty tells Ash and Serena that they can stay at the gym while Slowbro recovers. They gladly accept. Unbeknownst to them, someone was watching the battle unfold from the stands. After resting for a few days, Ash and Serena bid farewell to Misty and depart for Viridian City, where Ash will challenge for his final badge. On the way to Mount Moon, they are intercepted by a man who says he watched Ash's battle Cerulean City gym and was hoping to battle him. Ash is a bit skeptical and asks who the man is. Who is Giovanni, as we know. Giovanni sends out a Nidoking in response, saying the introductions should be taken place after the battle is over. Ash pulls out his Pokeball and sends out Nidorino. Nidorino first looks at its fully evolved counterpart, and then at the area. They were standing in the same route where Ash had captured him the first time. This was a deja vu moment for the poison type, realizing how far they had come. First he was afraid to battle anybody, and now Here he was, battling against its fully evolved opponent. Giovanni gives Ash the first move, and he orders a water pulse. Giovanni orders a thunderbolt which cuts through the water pulse, but Nidorino uses the grass as a shield to soften the impact before firing off a poison sting attack. Nidoking counters with a sludge bomb, which overpowers the much weaker poison attack and hits Nidorino head on, causing minimal damage. The battle is back and forth, but Nidoking has the clear advantage overall. So Giovanni calls a stop to the battle. He says he has seen enough, and is extremely impressed with Ash's Nidorino. Looks like Nidorino has reached its limit in its current form, and it's about time that it evolves into the final form. Nidorino hears this and looks a bit hesitant, as Giovanni hands Ash a moonstone, telling him this will help Nidorino evolve. Ash holds the moonstone before thanking Giovanni. He then asks him who he is once again. Giovanni introduces himself as the former leader of Team Rocket and the former gym leader of the Viridian City. Ash then puts the pieces together. He looks at Giovanni grimly. He hands him the moonstone back, saying his son needed this more than him. Giovanni asks him what he is talking about, and Ash tells him everything that he learned from Grace. He tosses Giovanni the key to his bike and says if he has any self-respect remaining, he should go see his son now. Giovanni looks down, holding the keys before getting on his bike and departing for Cycling Road. Meanwhile, Silver was already challenging for his final badge in Viridian City against Blue. The battle had come down to his Charizard against Blue's Blastoise. It was an extremely competitive battle, but eventually Charizard got the razor close win after a solar beam. Blue laughs as they both fall down out of exhaustion. He says he's never had such an amazing battle in a long time. Silver gets up and pets his Charizard before bowing to Blue in respect and accepting the Earth badge. He tears up a bit as he clutches it in his fist. Blue nods in approval. He has battled both of them, and Silver is a completely different trainer than his father was. Silver smiles a bit before departing. After resting for a few days, he arrives back at Grace's house. As he flies down with his Charizard, Grace stands there looking a bit worried. Silver lands and gives her the good news. He won his final badge, so he won't be leaving until the Pokemon League. He then notices her expression on her face and asks her what's wrong. He then notices someone coming out of the house. Silver looks shocked as Giovanni walks out. Silver yells at him, asking what the hell is he doing here. Giovanni tells him he just wants to talk. Silver tells him they are done talking. He needs him to leave right now. Giovanni tells him he knows that he was wrong. He just wants to talk to Silver. Charizard steps in front of his trainer and growls at Giovanni, as if telling the former gym leader to leave before he makes him. Silver warns Giovanni that if he stays here for one more second, he will have to answer to Charizard and not him. Giovanni looks at him sadly before throwing a Pokeball, which releases a Garchomp. The ground shark roars at Charizard, ready to protect his trainer Giovanni. Giovanni tells Silver if it's a battle he needs to open his head, that's what he will get. Charizard and Garchomp get into the battle stance and start fighting. Initially, Silver is mad with rage, and this reflects on Charizard, as it starts to attack in a wild frenzy. But after realizing that it's not working, he calms himself down and starts to battle more methodically. It's really even, as Garchomp is relying on taking a hit and returning an even bigger one, while Charizard is using its speed to land 5 hits to Garchomp's 1. Giovanni then reveals a bracelet in his arm. Silver asks what that is, and Giovanni replies by saying he's proud of how far Silver has come, but there's still so much for him to learn. Just then, Garchomp starts to glow with a bright energy, radiating from the bracelet, undergoing its Mega Evolution into Mega Garchomp. Silver is awestruck. He had heard about Mega Evolution, but to see it right in front of him, it was something else. Giovanni tells him that ever since he disbanded Team Rocket, he went on a quest to find himself. He traveled multiple regions to look for answers, and he has finally found a lot of them. Mega Garchomp starts to put a beating on Charizard, who is completely outclassed. A Dragon Rush sends Charizard crashing into Silver, who hits the fence. Giovanni tells him he has a Mega Stone for Charizard as well, and he can help Silver achieve this power. Silver snaps back angrily yelling he never needed a damn thing from him. Charizard roars and activates his Blaze ability and flies into battle once again. But it's still not enough. The power gap is just too much. Silver feels despair and helplessness, similar to how he felt when Giovanni walked out on him all those years ago. He then feels something weird. He starts to see the world from Charmander's viewpoint. They had been on this journey together. He sees his own journey through Charmander's eyes. He sees himself crying and Charmander trying to cheer him up. The time they played in the park, his evolution into Charmeleon, their epic battles, and everything leading up to this. He felt their memories sinking together before a huge blast of light blinds everyone. When the dust clears, Charizard looks different. His wings are on fire, he has two horns coming out of his head, and it looks like an entirely different Pokemon. Giovanni thinks to himself, is it really Battle Bond? Charizard completely overpowers Garchomp with his new form. Whenever Charizard takes a hit, Silver feels the pain as well, but at the same time, it felt like Charizard and him were linked. He didn't even need to give him any instructions. Charizard was battling on his own. A scorching flamethrower puts Garchomp on the heels and burns him severely. Charizard rushes in with a Flare Blitz, which looks more menacing than the regular one, and Giovanni orders Garchomp to use Dragon Rush, but Charizard overpowers the Dragon type, knocking it out and sealing the battle. Charizard falls out of his form and Silver falls to one knee. Giovanni walks up to Silver and offers him his hand. Silver takes it and gets up. He tells Giovanni that he forgives him, but he doesn't think he could ever trust him ever again. Giovanni tells him that's fair, and he understands where Silver's coming from. They all have a nice family dinner before Giovanni once again offers his help to Silver. This time, he offers to train him for the Pokemon League. Silver, however, declines, saying if he gets any help from his father, his journey up to this point will mean absolutely nothing. However, speaks in a very low tone. He tells Giovanni that if he does want to help, he can just stay with them. Giovanni smiles with tears in his eyes before embracing his son. We switch up. Ash and Serena arrive at Mount Moon. Serena asks Ash that he must have traveled through Mount Moon to get here. Ash tells her that he actually didn't. He instead took the mountainous path to reach Cerulean City from Pewter City when he started his journey. Serena tells him that's great, they can just take that route again. But Ash just tells her no. Serena asks him what's wrong. Before Ash tells that the mountainous route is where he first met Mankey and caught him. He does not want to visit that route ever again. Serena consoles him and says that's okay. They will just travel through the cave and try to figure out the path on their own. And Ash smiles weakly. As they enter the cave, they are greeted by a friendly Clefairy who offers to show them the way around. They play with the Clefairy a bit as it purposefully takes them through the long path, as she had taken a liking to Serena and wanted to spend some time with her. Ash also manages to get his hands on a moonstone, which is absolutely awesome for him. After exiting the cave, the Clefairy looks at Serena as if telling her that she wants to come along. So Serena decides that it would be best to add Clefairy on her team, and thus she captures the Clefairy for herself. Ash and Serena later arrive in Pewter City, where they go to the Pokemon Center to rest up. There, they're greeted by Brock, who is happy to see Ash has gotten 7 badges. He tells Ash to be well prepared because Blue is the strongest gym leader in this region. Speaking of gym leaders, he tells him about his battle against Janine and how she is taking the Pokemon League challenge. Ash is excited about battling her in the league again. Brock then says actually he has some people that he would want Ash to meet. It's Tate and Lisa, the co-leaders of the Mosdip City gym in the Hoenn region. They all spend some time in Brock's gym for the day before Tate and Lisa said that they would like to challenge Ash and Serena to a double battle. They accept and use Pikachu and Raichu against Solrock and Lunatone. Both teams have incredible synergy within themselves, and this makes a great battle full of combination moves. The battle ends with a double Thunderbolt overpowering a double Psyshock, which gives Ash and Serena the victory. They bid farewell to the 3 gym leaders before leaving for Viridian. The next day they arrive in Viridian City, and Ash heads straight for the gym. Blue notices him walk in and smiles, saying he never thought he would see Ash ever again. After their first battle, Serena asks Ash what happened in the first battle, and he embarrassingly tells her it's nothing. He just lost. That's it. He had some unpleasant flashbacks about him being tricked into buying Slowpoke, but it doesn't matter now. Slowbro is the most intelligent member of his team, and they will show Blue. Blue tells him it will be a full 6-on-6 battle, so he hopes Ash won't embarrass himself this time in front of his lady. Ash just tells him to butt off and start the battle. He smiles and sends out his Arcanine as his first Pokemon. Ash sends out Dragonair. The battle begins as once again Dragonair goes into kill mode with massive attacks right from the start. Blue tries to maintain composure in face of such huge output and tells Arcanine to keep using extreme speed to avoid as much as possible. But Ash was prepared for such a strategy as he orders Dragonair to use Thunder Wave, which paralyzes Arcanine. Blue says that two can play at this game and orders a Will-O-Wisp that burns Dragonair. This slows the battle down quite a bit, but it's still even. Arcanine is stronger, but Dragonair is just relentless with its attacks. It fires off Dragon Breath and Aqua Tails in such quick succession that Arcanine is overwhelmed. Then luck strikes for Ash even more, as Dragonair activates its Shed Skin ability to heal itself from the burns, and now with its handicap gone, a Hyper Beam puts down the fire type. Blue says that was impressive and sends out Heracross as his second Pokemon. Dragonair is pretty tired and damaged from her battle against Arcanine. Still, it tries a Hyper Beam again, but Heracross's Mega Horn cuts right through the Hyper Beam and knocks Dragonair out. Ash sends out Slowbro as his next Pokemon, as Blue laughs hysterically, saying that it's finally the master of the mystic arts and he's back. Ash remains calm and starts off with a Future Sight. Heracross charges in with a Mega Horn, but Slowbro keeps it at bay using Scald Attack, which manages to score a burn on Heracross, but also activate his Guts ability. Ash remains unfazed and orders a Counter Shield, which is enough to keep the bug away long enough for the Future Sight to hit and knock it out. Blue compliments the technique and sends out his third Pokemon, Alolan Exeggutor. First Alolan Muk, then Alolan Raichu, and now this. Ash thinks to himself as he sighs. He then orders Slowbro to use a Psychic Attack, and to Blue's surprise, the huge grass type is lifted up and slammed down. He orders Dragon Pulse, but once again Slowbro uses Counter Shield to deflect it. Blue says he's had enough with that damn technique and orders a Wood Hammer, which strikes from above and knocks Slowbro out cold. Ash sends out Kangaskid as his third Pokemon. Exeggutor has a difficult time dealing with the Joey Pokemon, but manages to get a good Dragon Pulse hit on it. Kangaskid retaliates by jumping on Exeggutor's back before landing multiple Ice Punches to knock it out. Blue sends out Tyranitar as his next Pokemon, and things go south after Kangaskid, despite its best effort, is unable to mount any significant damage onto the rock type, and when pushed to its limit, it undergoes its evolution into a fully grown Kangaskhan. Now the battle is much more even, and eventually Crunch and Dizzy Punch collide, resulting in both Pokemon getting knocked out. Blue sends out Pidgeot as his fifth Pokemon, and Ash goes with Nidorino. This is where Ash realizes that there is a difference between gym leaders he has battled up to this point and a former champion. Nidorino just seems outclassed and is unable to mount any significant damage on Pidgeot. He tries to keep the battle somewhat competitive but goes down to a Hurricane. Here is where Ash notices that Nidorino does not seem much different from his last gym battle, as there is not much improvement there. This is where Ash realizes what Giovanni was saying. Nidorino has capped off in its current stage and it needs to evolve. But that's a story for another day. He sends out Machamp as his fifth Pokemon, and despite being able to connect with the Stone Edge, the type advantage is just too much for Machamp as it's taken out by a Hurricane. Raichu is Ash's final Pokemon, and it makes quick work of the now tired Pidgeot, bringing it down with a Thunderbolt. Blue sends out his final Pokemon, Blastoise. He tells Ash he's done playing around and Mega Evolves his Blastoise into Mega Blastoise. Ash starts off with a Thunderbolt to test things out, and Gary orders a Dragon Pulse. The turtle Pokemon leans down and charges the attack from its biggest cannon. The attack fires off and the Thunderbolt is overpowered, and the Dragon Pulse hits Raichu, who blocks it with a Counter Shield at the very last moment, but the damage is still felt. Ash, realizing long ranges attack won't work, orders Raichu to get in close. This Raichu is able to do as Blastoise begins charging up Dragon Pulse once again, and the time in which it charges the Dragon Pulse is enough for Raichu to get close. Ash orders a Thunder Punch, but out of nowhere a pair of Dark Pulses hit Raichu, causing it to stumble all the way back, and it's barely able to avoid the oncoming Dragon Pulse. Blastoise used its smaller cannons to fire off the Dark Pulse at the shorter range. This was a very efficient system that Blastoise had going on. It would use its bigger cannon to use long range attacks and the smaller cannons to use short range attacks, making it an impenetrable wall. Ash says it's a fluke, as that kind of precision and timing requires you to be perfect every single time. He orders Raichu to use Thunderbolt again, and once again Blastoise fires a Dragon Pulse. This time, the attacks are somewhat even and cause an explosion. Raichu uses the smoke as a cover to get in close from behind, but Blastoise once again catches him with a Dark Pulse. Blue tells Ash he's right. One needs to be perfect to use the strategy him and Blastoise are using, but that's what Blastoise is. Perfect. Of course, they're not the champion anymore and they're not at that level, but the mastery of a technique never leaves you. He realizes that he needs to get creative, so he orders Raichu to jump using his tail and fire off a Thunderbolt. Once again, Blastoise cancels it out with Dragon Pulse. Ash tells Raichu to dive in with a Mega Punch, but Blue orders a Skull Bash. Both Pokemon collide midair, but Raichu seems to have taken the more damage. Ash then tries another strategy. He orders Raichu to use Charge. Blue takes this opportunity to get some hits in with Dark Pulses. Raichu remains unfazed and then fires off a multi-directional Thunderbolt, just like he did against Sabrina's Alakazam. Ash is confident this will work, but to his shock, Blastoise starts using Rapid Spin as the dirt on the battlefield spins around it to create a sandstorm which shields it. Ash then tells Raichu to use its tail as a spring to jump again, this time even higher. Just like the technique Misty used against him, he orders a Thunderbolt into the vortex. This attack finally hits, causing a lot of damage to Blastoise. Ash tells Raichu to use a Thunder Punch on the battlefield as Raichu descends from the air and slams both of his fists into the battlefield, sending a shockwave underground, bringing Blastoise to his knees. Realizing that Blastoise doesn't have much left in the tank, Blue orders a Dragon Pulse and a Dark Pulse combination, which Raichu responds by coating itself in electricity and charging into the attack. Blastoise tries its best to push through, but its attack does not have enough power because of the damage he had taken, and Raichu is barely tired. He tears through the attack and lands the Thunder Punch to knock Blastoise out. Blue congratulates him before handing him the Earth Badge. This makes Ash eligible to participate in the Pokemon League, a tournament which is shaping up to be one for the ages. The next day, Ash and Serena are readying themselves to leave for Pallet Town. They receive a call from Whiskers. She tells them that she has an assignment over at Cinnabar Island and she would need a hand. So they decide that they would travel to Pallet Town after finishing the business in Cinnabar. They arrive at Vermilion City once again and board the ship to Cinnabar Island. While on the ship, Ash decides to get some training in as Nidorino spars with Kangaskhan. As Ash watches the battle, he's noticing something. Nidorino seems stagnant. It's like for some time he can't seem to notice an invisible strength increase in him despite all the training. Kangaskhan, on the contrary, seems to have gotten a lot stronger. He recalls Kangaskhan and decides to do a test. He checks up Nidorino's data from his previous battles, and he notices there is absolutely zero increase in any of its stats from then till his last battle in the Viridian City. And even now, it's almost as if despite training to their fullest, Nidorino is not getting any stronger. He then remembers Giovanni's words once again. Nidorino has capped off in his current form. Ash tells this to Nidorino and offers him the Moonstone. However, the poison type smacks the Moonstone out of Ash's hand, as if telling Ash that he does not want to evolve. This is completely uncharacteristic of Nidorino, who is much more polite towards Ash than any rest of his Pokemon, and is the most obedient one easily. Ash decides not to push it and just pets Nidorino, saying it's okay, they will just figure something else out. As they arrive in Cinnabar Island, Whiskers tells them to just wait for a few minutes as Blaine would be arriving here soon. Ash hears the name Blaine and asks if this is the former gym leader of Cinnabar Island. Viscous tells him that's right, and he's the one who will be helping them. The bald retired gym leader arrives shortly after, as he greets Viscous, saying that it was nice for her to come here, as the situation here has turned really dire. Viscous tells him it's quite alright, as the Pokemon League had advised her to bring in some help, as this assignment will be a challenging one. Blaine nods before noticing at Ash and asking if this is the boy Surge had taken under his wing, and Ash formally introduces himself. Blaine is impressed to know that Ash has gathered all the 8 gym badges, and he tells him that as of late, gathering all 8 gym badges is much more difficult than it used to be. That's the reason the Pokemon League is now much smaller than what it used to be 3 to 4 years ago, because not all trainers are able to obtain the 8 gym badges. The bar has truly risen in the Kanto and the Johto League. As Ash chuckles and nods, he then notices Serena and asks her if she's the young lady who had won the Grand Festival. Serena nods, saying she is. Blaine tells her that he has a request. Serena asks him what is it, and he tells her that he has decided to do career switch up. He knows that it's late, but he has decided to transition over to becoming a Pokemon coordinator. Viscous looks at Blaine confused, asking why is he planning to do a career transition at this age. Blaine tells her that he's quite bored, because ever since he retired from being the gym leader, he had tried to be a coach to the young trainers over at Cinnabar Island, but he realized that he's not so good in the coaching business after all. And after he quit that job as well, he got kinda bored just doing assignments for the Pokemon League. So with that, he requests Serena for a contest battle. Right, Serena tells him that that's quite alright, as she sends out her Delphox to battle. Blaine counters it by sending out his own fire Pokemon, Rapidash, as the two elegant fire types stare off at each other. They have a short little contest battle sparring, which results in a pretty good looking fire type collisions which light up the sky, gathering a small crowd. Before Blaine recalls his Rapidash and asks Serena how did he fare, Serena tells him that although his techniques could be more refined, it looks like Rapidash is really enjoying battling in the contest style. And Blaine says that even during his days as gym leader, Rapidash seems to be the one who hated doing gym battles the most, as all of them chuckle. The next day, Blaine tells them all about the assignment. This is evacuating the dormant volcano area of Team Magma Grunts. Ash asks him if this is the same Team Magma which is an insurgent group in the Hoenn region, to which Blaine nods, saying that they are apparently planning to convert the dormant volcano into a safe haven for their poached Pokemon. And because he's all alone on Cinnabar Island and he is quite out of touch from battling such serious battles, he's unable to take all of the grunts at the same time. That's why he requested Viscous's assistance here. Viscous tells him that Ash and Serena would be more than glad to help him in this. And Blaine tells them that he's really grateful for their support. The next day, as they all entered the cave, Blaine tells them that they should probably split up and take off grunts one by one. As far as he knows, their leader is at the central labyrinth. So with that, they all decided to split up. Ash goes with Blaine and Viscous goes with Serena. As they are exploring the area, Ash notices someone trying to follow them. As he looks back, he sees a Magmotor. This Magmotor is of a quite different color, and Ash immediately goes into his guard, thinking it's a hostile one. But to his surprise, the Magmotor walks forward and rubs its head on Ash's hand. Ash pets it a bit nervously, looking at the huge cannons on his hands. Blaine tells Ash not to worry, as this Magmotor is pretty friendly. This poor thing was experimented on by Team Rocket when it was still a Magby, and it underwent a significant premature evolution. So although it's fully evolved as a Magmotor, its skill set and its mind is same as a Magby. Ash looks at the Magmotor and feels really sorry for it. He then thinks that the Magmotor is in a spot which is quite similar but at the same time completely opposite to the Nidoking. Its skill level does not matches its evolution stage at all. So he offers the Magmotor some Pokeblocks, and the Magmotor happily eats it and purrs at Ash. Blaine tells Ash that Magmotor used to live in the dormant volcano happily before the Team Magma Grunts chased him out. They tried to capture him, but he managed to keep them at bay somewhat. Ash tells Magmotor not to worry, that he would not let any harm come to him. Magmotor smiles warmly. No pun intended. One by one, they are able to eliminate a lot of the Team Magma Grunts before they reach the center of the labyrinth and confront the Magma admin Tabitha. He is surrounded by even more grunts, and here Ash, Whiskers, Blaine and Serena all team up to battle the entirety of Team Magma. After they have knocked out most of the grunts, Tabitha sends out his Camerupt and Mega evolves it into Mega Camerupt. Due to being in the center of a literal volcano, Camerupt has the terrain advantage and it uses its fire type attacks and ground type attacks in full force. Viscus's electric type Pokemon are not able to do any significant damage whatsoever, and Serena's Pokemon are outclassed in this power display. This leaves Ash as the one to do the battle here. He theorizes that sending out Raichu won't help here. Slowbro is still pretty damaged from the battle, and so is Kangaskhan. And sending out Dragonair in this closed confinement is a recipe for disaster. So he goes with Nidorino. Nidorino tries its best to hold off Camerupt, but it's doing no good. A huge flamethrower attack hits the ground and Ash falls back as the Moonstone rolls out from his bag. Nidorino looks at the Moonstone before looking at Camerupt. He almost feels the same fear that he felt before, noticing his much larger opponent, but then he shakes it off before looking at the Moonstone with a determined expression on his face. He moves over and places a paw at the Moonstone. Ash opens his eyes slightly to notice something very different in front of him. Nidorino has evolved into Nidoking. He is finally confident in his own strength as a Nidoking and his ability to control this strength. Nidoking battles Camerupt, and after a hard-fought battle, an Earth Power knocks Camerupt out. This is followed by Tabitha's escape as he promises to return and wreak havoc on this pathetic island. Ash celebrates with his newly evolved Pokemon, saying that now there is no limits on his strength and they will grow so much stronger together. After they exit the cave, they notice Magmotor following them. Magmotor looks over at Ash as if asking to come along with him. Ash happily takes out his Pokeball and throws it at Magmotor, capturing it. Blaine tells Ash that Magmotor has never trusted a trainer so much that it did Ash, so he's sure Magmotor will be happy with him. Ash tells him that he will do his best to help Magmotor overcome his handicap, as Blaine smiles at him happily. After this, they all return to Pallet Town, where they meet Delia. Delia is extremely happy to welcome them all and treats them all to lunch. She tells Serena that she watched her win the Grand Festival on TV, and she is very happy that Ash has such great friends. Whiskers tells Delia how Ash battled and defeated her, and Delia is really proud of her son. The next day, Whiskers is ready to depart, but to Ash's surprise, Serena says that she needs to return to Kalos region for a bit as well. Ash asks her if she will not be here when he challenges the Pokemon League. Serena tells him that the Pokemon League is still 2 months away, and she will make sure to return to cheer Ash on, just as he did for her in the Grand Festival. With that, they bid farewell for the time as Whiskers and Serena depart. Ash stays in Pallet Town for a while and alongside Kangaskhan visits his old home, where Kangaskhan is greeted by his family. After staying in Pallet Town for a few weeks and resting up, all of them travel to Viridian City. Somewhere else, Silver is doing his own training in the cycling road. He is watching a sparring battle between his Charizard and Primeape. It appears that the rivalry that Primeape has had with Raichu has shifted over to Charizard, as it tries its best to beat the fire flying type. Although the battle is even at first, Charizard undergoes his Battle Bond evolution and starts to beat on Primeape. Primeape goes into a mad rage as its fist gets covered in an ominous aura, and he moves forward and punches Charizard back to back. But this does minimal damage as Charizard swipes him away with its flaming wings. As Primeape falls down, Silver tells him that's enough, as he does not want Primeape to get damaged before the Pokemon League. Primeape is defiant as ever as he snarls at Silver before looking at Charizard angrily. He thinks to himself that even after finding a trainer suitable to his battling style, How is he not the top dog here? Why is Charizard so much stronger than him? He becomes even more angrier and starts to punch Charizard once again. And while he's punching, unbeknownst to him, Charizard and Silver, it starts to glow in a blinding white light. And when the light subsides, they notice a considerable change in Primeape's appearance. Its white fur has converted into a greyish black one, and its eyes are red and filled with rage. Primeape has evolved into its final form, Annihilape. And not only that, it has learned its new move, Rage Fist. As Silver notices this, Charizard roars in excitement and flies into the battle. The battle is quite a destructive one and Silver has to step in, separating his Pokemon finally and telling them to chill out. He notices his newly evolved Annihilape and smirks in confidence, saying that this makes things even more interesting. And guys, that's where I'll be ending this part. Thank you so much for watching. It was a really long part. I'm so glad to be back. Thank you everyone for staying tuned, and there are a lot more coming your way, so stay tuned. Thank you so much.